Poised for Exit is a show for business owners who want to achieve a successful exit based on their own terms. Your business exit will likely be the biggest financial transaction of your life, and for most, you'll have one shot at doing it right. The topics and guests we feature and the stories they share will provide valuable ideas and strategies to improve operations and grow enterprise value so you can achieve the best possible exit outcome. Now here's your host, award-winning certified exit planning advisor, Julie Keys.
Welcome everyone to the Poised for Exit podcast show. Our guest today is the founder of a business coaching and advisory firm that specializes in financial turnarounds. If you're a business owner in need of this kind of advice, you're going to want to listen in. But first, a message from our show sponsors.
My name is Todd Crow, and I'm the president of the Twin Cities Exit Planning Chapter. If you're a business owner and advisor and want to learn more about the world of exit planning, you're invited to visit the Twin Cities chapter of the Exit Planning Institute. You can expect top-level education delivered by subject matter experts at every monthly meeting. Grow your network and draw from the learning that could be a game changer for your business or your practice. There's no pressure to become a member, so come and see what the buzz is all about. Our meetings are held the second Wednesday of the month, 7:30 to 9 a.m. See the show notes for more information and registration links.
Thinking about selling your business in the next few years? Don't wait to start planning. I've seen too many business owners wait too long and regret it. Freedom Financial Partners are financial advisors who specialize in exit planning for business owners, helping you reduce tax surprises, protect what you've built, and quantify how much you need from the sale. Their proven process helps you think beyond your business so you can move forward with clarity and confidence. The longer you wait, the fewer options you may have. Download your free financial readiness assessment today at ffpforme.com/exit. That's ffpforme.com/exit. Are you a business owner getting ready to transition? If so, I recommend True North Mergers and Acquisitions as your confidential strategic partner. They understand your business sale isn't just about one buyer and the price, but what you net that counts. In other words, what you get to keep. When you're ready for a higher level of representation that delivers consistent results, contact True North M&A to do the heavy lifting of selling your business. Learn more at tnma.com. That's tnma.com.
Exiting your business is a big deal, both financially and emotionally. I'm John Marquet, Certified Exit Planning Advisor with TrustPoint. We help business owners transition smoothly on their terms. Our focus is on maximizing value, minimizing stress, and giving you confidence in what's next. Whether you're selling or passing the torch, we make the process seamless. Start planning today at trustpointinc.com. That's trustpointinc.com.
Hello, Poised for Exit listeners. We are here today with Eric Mitchellette, who is the founder and CEO of Strategic Business Coach. Eric, welcome to Poised for Exit.
Thank you very much, Julie, for inviting me.
I'm so glad that you could be on the show. We've known each other for a long time. I've always respected your work, how you work with business owners and how you help them with, especially on the financial side of things. So we're going to get into all of those juicy stories and content in a minute. But first, I'd just like to have you share with us, how did this come to be? Like, how did you found this company? I know you have a very rich background, so let's share that for our listeners first.
As I served as a financial officer for different companies, I found a pattern of vendors and customers who were unable to deliver. In the case of customers, they couldn't pay their bills, and vendors who couldn't deliver product. A lot of times it was simple cash management issues and simple relationships with their bank. Vendors had their products withheld from the bank, and I would go to the vendors and help them collect money so that the bank would release their inventory, which helped the companies I worked for. And of course, customers with accounts receivable management, I'd go and help them build out a management receivables program and pay our bills on time. We never had to worry about bad debt, and that was agreed to by the accounting firm because we had zero reserves and really zero bad debt.
Wow. So receivables, that is a problem with a lot of different companies and different industries. Tell me about how you solved that problem.
It's simply the ask. If you follow John Baker's asking formula, you get the ask up front. Let people know what the expectations are, and work with them and become a partner with them. People pay who they like, and you want to be likable. That's
Good
probably
point.
the biggest secret there is. The best collector I ever had was a a woman who was just very polite, nice, and she'd bake cookies and she would send the cookies to people when they paid. And so guess who got paid all the time?
Yeah. So did she just do that out of the kindness of her heart, or was that just part of her strategy
That
for
was a
collecting?
strategy she
Isn't
had.
that something?
We paid her to cover
Oh,
the cost, of course, and she
oh,
was just amazing how fast it was to collect from anybody she called.
that is so genius and so simple at the same time.
People liked her, so they paid.
I'm sure. Yeah, like nobody wants to answer to Guido, right?
Not at all.
Yeah, and none of us, I mean, I don't care how large the company is, nobody wants to be the bank, to carry their customers and clients when they're not paying. And let's face it, there are companies that some have really great collection policies and some have none, and some have policies that they never enact, right? So kind of everything sprinkled in between. And it sounds to me like you helped your clients like not only collect, but also like have a policy going forward so that they could maybe eradicate the problem a little bit better in the
We
future.
always establish relationships up front. We did have, of course, credit forms. We always try to make sure one of the team would meet the new customers, our existing customers, of course, too.
Hmm.
We also send thank you cards to the top 10 from the business owner for paying. We might have an annual letter or a quarterly letter thanking customers who had paid on time. Personal touch. If
Hmm.
you have to get an attorney or a collection agency, you may need to do that at the right time, but you want to exhaust all their possibilities first.
Yeah, and treat humans like humans, right?
Yes.
And I know that you're so good at that. You have a really good approach. And so tell me about Strategic Business Coach, the services you provide, maybe some of the ideal clients that you've worked with in the past, and a picture of who you like to work with.
Business strategic business coach was an idea that was brought out of what I had mentioned earlier. I just saw a need out there, and serving as an officer for companies, I decided it was time to go on my own. I had built up a client base and decided that was the approach I wanted to take in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Really was an eye opener to see how the need was the greatest out there that I hadn't even seen until I started working as strategic business coach. People want to learn, they want to understand, and they don't want to be forced. It's an educational process. And as you know from your practice, you want to show them the possibilities, show them what the outcome is. And especially with EPI, the designation for SEPA, they teach you to train owners in on what it looks like for their final exits and plan backwards. What does it look like going to the present? What's the best approach for them? Strategic Business Coach offered me that opportunity to engage that way. And your book, Poised for Exit, third edition, you do cover, some of the key things that are missed out there and for planning. Death, disaster, distress, disagreement, divorce, disability. There's a whole series of these events that occur. And I've had clients who have had passed away, and we plan for their exit. Unfortunately, their exit is not just from the business, but we also have to look at their life and what their family is going to look like afterward. It's a very difficult set of discussions, but one that may save the company and its value and the employees and job in the community.
Well, and you've got some very interesting client stories that you could share with us that have a kind of a good like illustration of risk management and what happens when you don't manage risk.
I worked for a company called Checker Machine, and the owner, Tom Lipinski, he did not have a full plan in place. We had tried to work with him to build one as an employee officer, but
Hmm.
some people are just not ready for it. And he did pass away suddenly from a heart attack. It was a scramble to get bank financing because, as most owners may or may not know, there's a death clause in all loans. If a guarantor passes, the loan is called immediately. So they may freeze that line. You may have payroll coming up. We scrambled and we were able to restructure our finances to make payroll with the existing bank, but we had to have other banks ready to go because not all banks are willing to work with the next generation of owners or with the surviving spouse. And we
Mm-hmm.
can sign loan documents and guarantees on the way to a funeral for the widow's husband, Tom. That was a shocker. She's
Wow.
literally crying, and the tears are hitting the paper. She's signing the documents. And we got in the car together and went to have the funeral for her husband and then do the internment all in the same day. So we can make payroll the next day.
Wow.
So that's something people need to plan ahead of time. There should have been a succession plan in place. We did have key man policies that we'd put in place that allowed us to allocate that asset from the individuals back to the bank to allow us to get the additional guarantees built.
Sure.
One strategy.
Yes, definitely. Well, and those policies saved you, but boy, like you said, if they would have had planning in advance, then none of that would have happened. It's remarkable to me that when you talk about service, like I haven't heard that too many times where the advisor is actually going to the funeral and helping the surviving spouse, like keep the doors of the company open even on funeral day. Like that's pretty remarkable, Eric.
Yeah, I've done that both as employee officer, but also in my consulting practice, where you do meet
Mm-hmm.
with the company owners, and you may have to share with the key information before a service. Even it's very difficult, and people die quicker than they think is going to happen.
Yeah,
Um,
that's an unfortunate fact, that's for sure. Let's face it, business ownership is a stressful proposition. And so business owners many times do have a shorter lifespan just because of the amount of stress that they're under. And if they don't take care of themselves and they take care of everybody else first, not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but it's true.
it is true, and
Yeah.
I had a client who was given a 6-month prostate diagnosis, and it moved to his bones, and he was lost in 2 months.
Wow.
So I worked with his widow to go through the entire company portfolio, all the assets they had spread around. We found almost $1 million in assets she never knew she had.
Mm-hmm.
Typical situation with business owners, they didn't have everything all in one place. To his credit, he did a lot of great things, but it just wasn't enough.
And he didn't have that whole financial house in order, so to speak, which would have prevented the forensic work that you had to do. Yeah. And then what happens then is that if you're still with the company or whatever your role was at that time, you're taking your foot off the gas from the things that you really should be doing to keep
Right.
keep the wheels turning. So tell us about your like client. I know you work with a lot of manufacturing firms, but that's not the only industry that you work with. But just tell us, what does a typical client engagement look like? Now, you mentioned it earlier in the show that you have your SEPA designation, like I do, Certified Exit Planning Advisor. So maybe share with us like how you use that and how that has come to play with particular clients, if you have any stories you'd like to share to illustrate.
The best thing I think that the EPI designation and the EPI program has is a dashboard, which they show basically your exit. What does that look like? You work your way backwards from right to left in the dashboard. That visual tool is quite amazing. You can look it up online. It is a good visual for owners to see and their families work. Every day you should ask yourself, am I going to sell this business or am I going to keep it?
Mm-hmm.
Every day is the question. And if you're going to keep it, you got to continue to grow. If you make the decision to sell, there's new decisions that need to be made. And you work your way going all the way to the present. What is it going to look like? People find that to be probably the biggest help. You can go through a cash flow analysis and EBITDA analysis. There's some great tools out there, but you got to ask every day what it is you want as a business owner. And what does it look like?
And you also tend to focus more on the CFO side of business readiness. If we're going to talk about exit planning, there's the business readiness and the owner readiness. And you probably spend some time on the owner readiness too. But from a CFO perspective, I believe that you've also done a number of turnarounds as well, have you not?
Yes, I do quite a bit of turnaround work. That is probably
Mm-hmm.
my core. And every turnaround really does have some M&A component to it, either
Mm-hmm.
near term or longer term.
Sure. So what does that look like when, if I'm a business owner, I'm listening to this episode and I'm thinking, I wonder if I need a turnaround expert. Tell me what that looks like.
Well, turnarounds come in several phases. You can have operational turnarounds, sales turnarounds, and financial turnarounds, the three legs of the stool. I focus mostly on the financial and some operational turnarounds. And a lot of times it's just cash management and relationships with their lenders, possibly their investors. Those connections, as we said earlier, are so important. You can't over communicate with your key lenders and your key investors. That source of income, investment, or borrowing is key. There is a huge amount of requirements for people to feel comfortable. You got to build that trust, and trust is earned, not given.
Yes.
And of course, receivables management.
Yeah, for sure. So then, are you like the catalyst? Are you the person that steps in and represents the business owner on behalf of their needs, whether it's the banker or whoever it is that you're stepping in to represent the owner? Is that how it works? Or you just go with them or advise them on it and then they take care of it? Or how does it look?
Most of the time I advise and then we go together. We have
Okay,
meetings together with any of the key stakeholders that are important to the business continuation and or the business taking another step. Maybe it's an M&A.
sure.
I work with them and I counsel them on what is next, but we've got to keep meeting with the right people. And that's where we do it together. So
Okay.
both minds, and both insights make a difference in any path forward, no matter what the situation is.
Yeah, and okay, so that's the turnaround on the financial side. But and I hadn't heard you break this down before, but so operational turnaround and sales turnaround, we need to talk about those too. Many business owners that are listening to this episode are having maybe their financial is okay, but it's the operational that really is hurting, or the sales maybe are flat or declining. And of course, that's eventually going to affect, if it hasn't already, the financial side. So
I
what does it
told
look like on your operational and then sales turnaround?
operational side, there usually, and what I run across is that there is a mismatch between what the sales organization is trying to accomplish and the financial side. So it may be spending too much on the operational side or not enough. I've had a client with 6 different warehouses. He did not need 6 warehouses. He only needed
My
4.
goodness.
And operationally, it was really straining the organization with the personnel.
I bet.
We consolidated down to 4, and subleased out to his network the other 2 locations. So that created additional financial resources for him and his team. He was able to bring his team into 4 locations. It was a huge win for the company. But he felt so attached to the other 2 locations. We went through the analysis with himself and the team. We let go of the other 2 locations. And it was just an amazing turnaround operationally for them. So the
Wow.
margins increased too, obviously. So it was a
Of
whole layer
course.
of things. So if you go to sales, and everybody needs a sales dashboard, they should be there every day. Every person in that company should see some form of a sales dashboard that shows them what is being sold, how much it's being sold for. And maybe there's some confidentiality in the margins, but you can cover that as an owner. But they
Hmm.
know that they are what is happening every single day and what the trends are over time. Because most companies like this one, they hadn't raised their prices in 3 to 4 years.
Mm.
First thing we did was go through all the contracts, everything coming up for renewal. We raised the prices to match at least a doable margin so that they could continue on. And we did have to work with them to shed a few clients of theirs that just wouldn't agree to price increases, but we were able to spend far more time with the high margin clients, and it made them just incredibly financially strong.
Wow. And so definitely able to come in, make the improvements, make the changes, and then turn around and go, all right, here's the ROI on the work I'm doing for you, and here's how it's made a difference. Like the spread between the two has to be pretty remarkable.
Yes, and they see it every month in the financial statements, of course, during that
Right.
time. And I do bring in
Right.
outside talent. I brought in some supply chain specialists for the operations side when
Sure.
they couldn't negotiate through the tariff issues. Their internal people were not able to handle it. And also for sales, I bring in sales trainers or sales professionals to help them
Mm.
build a stronger sales team.
Very smart. So, some of the challenges that your clients are facing? And let's just look at the past 12 months. How is it that they're coming to you, and what kind of obstacles or challenges are you seeing that they're having right now?
Banks have tightened up. So every client I work with, I've always bring in a 26-week cash flow analysis, both 13-week detailed and then another 13-week with a little bit of an overview. So it's a 26-week run. That visibility changes the organization, the timing, the way the owners view accounts receivable and accounts payable, as well as the expenses they incur each month. That visibility shows them that they need to balance certain areas of the business that they hadn't thought about before. And right now, banks have really tightened up. What used to be a 3 or 4 week process to refinance a revolver is now up to 4 months.
Oh my gosh, really?
So it's just difficult. And then there's the challenge too of course, tariffs and government payments now.
Sure.
Banks don't want concentration and anything that affects the risk coefficient that they run with.
And this is lines of credit that people are trying to expand or rewrite, or are these acquisition loans? I'm assuming they're conventional, not SBA.
All the above, including SBA.
Oh, okay.
SBA is obviously feeling the strain of the events going on right now with the government shutdown.
Right,
Prior to
right.
that, with the Doge cuts, my network, almost everyone in my network at SBA left or was let go. We had to go down to Texas in this last round. It took 3 months to get an
Mm,
SBA manager to sign off on a forbearance agreement, and everything takes so much longer these days.
sure. They're probably not in a big hurry to sign a forbearance agreement anyway, but
No,
you know,
but
I,
even some simple things like subordinating a loan. I mean, those are still 3 months. Everything is just taking a lot longer. And it was an easy deal in my book for them to sign
sure.
either one.
But on the conventional lending side, then, we're not dealing with SBA. Is the length of time that it's taking, is that tied to staffing necessarily, or would you say that it's just like more stringent underwriting?
I think all the above. I think everybody's facing some cuts. You're seeing it out there. There's from the bank side, AI, of course, other businesses is a big selling point to make these cuts so they reinvest using AI. But that means in the interim period, they don't have the support within the companies they need. So people are
Right.
stretched very thin. Government is no different. Everybody's
Sure.
feeling it.
Well, and that's the problem. I think AI is a great technology, but if you don't have a plan for using it and a roadmap, all this patchwork isn't going to serve anybody. And we're seeing that in the larger companies, right? The large public corporations are reworking their entire philosophy around it and having to, after they invested all this money. Yeah, that's another whole conversation. So, so last question for you. When we look at the new year, which is coming up, what are you seeing in terms of what business owners might really need to focus on? Like if you were going to give our listeners who are owners out there, regardless of their industry, regardless of their size, what are some things financially, especially, that they need to keep a strong pulse on and then possibly work with someone like you?
Obviously, the dashboard, every day you have key metrics, and with all the technology, there's no reason why everyone in that company, the owner, the board members, even if they're involved, all the employees, key officers should be getting metrics emailed every day and have access to a hyperlink that goes right to the dashboard tool. You should have cash flow analysis, sales analysis, margins, what products are selling, what are not, the inventory turns, what's the cash ratio for borrowing base agreement if you have one, borrowing base certificate. People need to know where their cash is at and where it's going. Sector specific recession, we're already in it, and it's going to get worse according to some of the contacts and some of the events I've been to with economic planners. Of course, everyone's predicted about 0 of the last 10 recessions. We'll see where that goes, but there is definitely some strain out there, and cash is king. Everyone hears that, but have enough cash and cushion to handle the 5 Ds of disaster,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they may be,
Mm-hmm.
and plan. What does everything look like at each stage with your team? Your pulses, your customers and vendors. Go to lunch with them, talk to them, go to some of these great conferences and listen. And yes, it's time away from the office, but by golly, it's the best time away you'll ever have.
Yes.
People come back from conferences and then change what their inventory mix was going to be.
Yeah, all the learning that takes place when they do get out of the office and go to those kinds of things. I agree 100%. It is tough to break away, but necessary for all of us, right? Anybody who owns a company. So one follow-up question real quick here before we wrap up. You said with dashboards and how you have to have, the KPIs that actually are relevant and that mean something for the business and for keeping a good pulse on the financial side and sales and all of that's tied together. Is that something that you actually build? Like, is that a service that you provide for your clients? Do you build those dashboards?
I help them build them with their vendors if needed. I'm not taking place of anybody's vendors, so just show them what is possible. And
Yeah.
we can work with the vendor team, whether it's an AI team or just a traditional suite of ERP system products, and
Mm-hmm.
help them create that. But it's fun. It's interesting because a lot of management is using the wrong KPIs. They're using old, outdated KPIs or metrics and dashboard. Every month needs to be like EOS. You got to keep that cycle going of what is needed, what's new, what's helpful. Not using
Totally.
the old KPIs that really don't matter anymore.
Yes. Yeah, I agree 100%. That is very good advice. And for our business owner listeners out there, we will have your contact information in the show notes so that they can, explore further, ask more questions, find out what you might be able to do for them to help them through making some of these decisions. And I just appreciate having you on the show, Eric. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, Julie. It's been wonderful.
Absolutely. And thank you to our loyal listeners out there. Thank you so much for the downloads, for sharing the episodes. And thank you, of course, to our very valued sponsors. We really appreciate having you support this show. And to our listeners and our sponsors, we will see you again next time. Thank you.